I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mr. Secretary, Chris Mellon, would you take the roll call?
Luke Rich is absent. Mr. Swike?
Here.
Mr. Pettit?
Here.
I myself am here. Vice President Deering?
Here.
And President Uzelak.
Here.
That's 5. We have a quorum. And I apologize. I skipped Miss Chandler Felton,
Okay.
even though Mr. Griffin had said.
Well, if she
she'd be
comes
late.
in, we will recognize her as being present.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Okay, continuing on after roll call, what do we have here? Election. What's this election?
Oh, no, just skip that. Thank you, Miss, sorry,
Is
Miss.
that an error?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Unless you want us to elect you again.
No,
Okay.
I think we're okay. Okay, can I have an approval for the minutes, a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bryant and a second from Jeff Swike. Everybody in order with that?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh,
Aye.
everybody. Sorry about that. Okay. Aye.
It's gonna be one of those nights, huh, Madam
Yeah.
President?
I'm just thinking, yeah, I don't know why. I goofed up on something here. Okay. The motion's been approved by the board. Thank you all. Any communications from the board? None? Okay, we will continue on with comments from the chairman. Well, I think everything will be okay. We'll continue on with the meeting then. All right, any old business, board members? None? Any new business? None? Okay, going on to item 1, P3PS1-0525, TPL Silos LLC petitioner and owner, located at southwest corner of East 73rd Avenue. His request preliminary 6-lot subdivision approval on 63.25 acres in a CIS commercial industrial zoning district. Purpose, to allow a 2-building speculative logistics center. Okay, is he present?
Yes.
Well, give us your program. Present yourself with your name and address.
Hi all, Matt Cruz, Crow Holdings. I've been here a lot over the last 5 years.
You have your own office, Matt.
Yes.
Anyway, Fred's here from Kate. Oh,
Yeah, I'll go ahead just for the record. Fred Thady, Cage Engineering, 2200 Cabot Drive, Suite 325, Lisle, Illinois.
John LaBelle of Arco Murray at 549 West Randolph Street, Chicago, Illinois.
What is your title?
I'm a project manager.
And the
General
other
contractor.
gentleman, what was your title?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm a principal at Cage Engineering. We are the civil engineer of record.
Oh, good, okay. So do you want to tell us what's going on now?
We can, sure. So I was not here at the workshop. Fred and John and Mark, also from Arco Murray, were here. Similar to all the other buildings we built in town, this one, we're proceeding with 2 of the 3. So there still is site work that will be done for the 3rd largest building on the site, the southernmost building. I heard at the workshop specifically 73rd and that access point is something that we should discuss as it relates to fire life safety. So from my standpoint as the developer and putting myself in a police fire situation, aside from the fact there is a curb cut there now, we don't want to create an unsafe situation in town. So left turn in is something that no truck or car should do. But what I'm picturing, because that spine road is going to ultimately serve 3 buildings for cars and trucks, shift change, getting people out of that site and moving south, or even, going north, for instance, probably more importantly on Mississippi, is going to create a very unsafe situation if you're trying to make a left turn out. So what we'd like to focus on is at least a right turn out of the site onto 73rd, so you've got that signalized intersection to then go north with that movement, because I think it's going to be a really bad situation trying to go north in Mississippi for a car from this spine road. So I'd like to try to get that resolved, if we could tonight. Recognizing a full access point on 73rd is not something that we need or are asking for.
Did you do a traffic study with our engineer?
We have it, right? No, we have not.
No. What do you think, Steve? Should you do some type of traffic study?
Well, they're just here for the preliminary
Pardon?
plat. They're just here for the preliminary plat.
Okay.
A traffic study will be done once we dive into the engineering aspect and the details of it. We'll be able to hammer out with Fred and his team what, what's going to be needed after the traffic study's done.
Okay, thank you.
So.
Okay, board members, Mr. Swike, what do you think right now? Your
We
comment.
were talking about earlier how that the existing wetland be preserved, and we don't want the water to pollute the wetland, because I believe that the water you use is going to be heated water for the system. Is that what you're talking about?
Heated water for what system are?
For your building that you're going to build?
Oh, the wetlands are being mitigated. So we're working with IDEM and the Army Corps in order to do that, to effectively create a higher standard of wetland offsite.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Ryan, what do you have?
Well, and I've been looking at the plans over the last couple of weeks and really thinking about obviously the traffic problem.
Yeah.
Going out onto 73rd on off hours isn't, as far as right turnout, isn't going to be a big problem. During peak hours, it's going to be tough because it's a very, very short throw, and you're turning out basically into a right turn only lane to go south on Mississippi. If they want to go north, they got to cut across to the northbound turning signalized arrow. Conversely, going out onto Mississippi Street is going to be tough because it's not super busy 24 hours a day, but it's busy enough, even during off hours, that semis that get stacked up coming out of the property, trying to go north to 61st Avenue or south to 30 to hop on 65. I don't know what the solution is for that. I don't know if it would require a signal down the road. It's just, I see turning left even onto Mississippi is going to be tough. So it's something that we'll need to discuss down the road when we get to that part of it, when we do the traffic study. But I would be very in favor, if it's feasible, of putting a signal there, whether it lines up with one of the streets on the Mississippi or on the Hobart side. That's for the engineers to figure out, but just be aware that we're really going to have to take a tough look at, ingress, egress to the property. And that's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Chris Mellon, questions?
No, I have nothing at this time.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, Sean, this is in your ward, correct?
Hi, Matt, how you doing?
Yeah.
Good, Sean.
What do you
Good,
have?
long time no see, no
I know.
talk. I got a bevy of stuff, Madam
Okay.
President. First and foremost, I'm gonna put my other hat on, Mr. Svetnoff, if that's okay. Matt, you and I have talked about, Lamar just bought 2 sign easements from the Killar family. We use that drive that's on 73rd Avenue now to get to the billboard. That billboard is gonna stay up much longer than I'm gonna be around town or working for Lamar. So the access into that board has got, that access easement's gotta be preserved, okay? One thing to consider, folks, is, Matt, this quadrant of Halsted, Modrak, and you also have Lawrence Benjamin, and Angie Chilcott and I have been going back and forth with Mr. Benjamin as to what could come through there. A different offshoot of Crow Holdings, Trammell Crow, came in back in 2023 and wanted to put 2 large buildings on the northwest quadrant. And we said traffic was going to be a problem because, and Steve and I have talked about this, from Virginia to Mississippi, at some point, the town's going to have to address. Whether I'm around,
Okay.
Margie, you're around, it's going to have to be done, which I've talked to Matt about. We added this into an EDA. This is in its own TIF, like a TIF district, that's got an extended time where we could look at widening that road out to 4 lanes, including the bridge. The comment, Brian, and I've had this discussion before, turning onto Mississippi, do we need accel decel lanes? They're not going to do that because Steve and Bob and I have talked about Mississippi south of 30 and all that development, that large Opus building south of my subdivision. So turning movements into what Al Bartley built on the west side of Mississippi, Mayel Cosmetics on the west side of Mississippi, that turning movement. If you've got a 4-lane stretch of road, guys, we don't need an accel decel lane, correct?
No, that's actually incorrect. I think on their plans, I didn't bring the plans with me, but they actually show XL decel lanes
Here.
on their Mississippi Street
Yeah,
entrance.
Sean, just the
You do.
southbound
Which page?
acceleration lane.
You can see it on the overall,
Yeah,
Sean,
it's not-
sheet
yeah.
2, C2.0.
Yeah,
So it's an acceleration lane primarily geared towards trucks headed southbound.
okay. Now, this entrance, though, off of Mississippi is going to line up, and I see one of our constituents, actually, he's on the Hobart side, Mr. Gaze is out there. There's a street where Jerry's house is on the south side,
Yeah.
and Hobart built a new house, Jerry, north of you. This entrance is going to line up with that road, I believe. Is that correct, Fred?
It does not, Sean, it is
It
offset.
does not?
No.
So we're going to have an offset intersection there.
Why?
Well, yeah, I guess
My
that's, I tell you what, guys, because, you know, Matt, you know how in favor I am of everything you've done in town and what we've gone through together with tax abatements on this property and getting this thing put together. But by the same token, we've just recently launched a Merrillville Hobart Task Force for the Mississippi Street Corridor. And you guys probably have read in the paper that Al Krieger has got the property at Patriot Park where the mayor of Hobart submitted for the convention center. Whether or not that gets approved, I don't know, but that road over by Jerry and Stacy's house, that winds back into Patriot Park on the Hobart side. And when that gets developed and they want to have a lot of things on the Hobart side, we're going to have to figure out how to line up this intersection, guys. I think Brian might be right. There's going to be a need for another traffic light down at what would be 75th, or I don't know
75th, yeah, I think.
what the name of that is. But yeah, I didn't realize, I thought these lined up from the workshop last time.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused because the site plan hasn't changed in, the 6 months we've been here, throughout the entire rezoning and any of it. And so this is the first time that anyone's kind of focused on this. And we're effectively done with design. So I'm a little frustrated by that, but to be fair, we will work with the town. That road across the street got built in 2006. So 19 years later, we're still sitting here talking about when it might be developed. If the convention center goes there, how do we know that that road doesn't get trashed and redone?
I don't think is,
All right, well, let's back up a second, Fred. On C 2.2.0, I see a write-in, write-out only for Building A, which is 228,000 square feet. And then immediately to the south of that, I see what appears to be a full-access road cut on Mississippi. That road cut does not line up with the street that's on the Hobart side?
No, if you look at that same sheet, you will see that on the east side of Mississippi, Plan South, you've got what looks like a curb return there. That is those are
That's
the
it?
curb going into that street. Yeah, I don't have the distance in front of me, but you would be probably less than the typical quarter-mile spacing that people like to see between stoplights. So the location, and I scaled it off. I can fire up my laptop if we wanted an exact dimension here. But from our entrance to the Mississippi intersection is roughly that quarter mile. So in an ideal world, you want quarter-mile spacing from signalized intersections. So if this is going to become a signalized intersection at some point in time, you probably want that existing street to find its way a little bit further south.
For note, both of those streets leading back to Prospect Park are called Silverstone Parkway,
Yeah.
connected by Prospect Place. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know we've got the joint task force with Hobart, but we are pretty much in control of Mississippi Street. We are responsible for maintaining the streetlights, even though they're on the Hobart side. We are responsible for paving, even though half of Mississippi Street is on Hobart property. I think that when and if a convention center was approved, I think it would work out to where the signalized intersection, if Crow was to put one in or jointly put one in, would line up with anything done on the Hobart side, since it is our road.
Silverstone also currently has a jog to the north. I'm not sure why that was done when it was originally designed, but if Silverstone were to continue straight west and intersect with Mississippi, it might actually line up closer to where we are proposing, which would be the proper distance for a signalized intersection.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Silverstone Parkway right now, Fred, has got a new house on it,
Yeah.
right across the street from Jerry and Stacy's house. So that's realigning that road, you know, one of a couple different ways is gonna impact the Hobart side, whether it be, you know, you got two property owners there that are gonna be impacted there.
I mean, here's another thing too, Adam, not to interrupt you, Sean, here's another thing too. You know, you look at where the curb cut is on the east side, you look at your, where you guys are coming out on the west, and when Jerry was here last time, he, talked about how they didn't want the lights from the trucks shining in their bedroom window. That's about where you're at. I mean, I don't have a scale drawing or nothing, but that we can't have.
Yeah.
And that was mentioned very early on,
This is why we're in preliminary.
okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
sure, you know, you're talking about all the design is done.
That's what I was.
You know, it's a great set of plans, but Brett Jordan has still got to, you know, send us the details of what you're going to do on Mississippi. He showed it in the overall, and he called me, and he said, I show it in the overall, but I'm going to send you the detailed plans. We don't have them yet to comment on them, which is fine. I mean, we're very early on here, but I'm just pointing out a couple things.
Well, and these are all things to consider down the road.
Oh, sure,
I mean,
exactly.
This isn't
No,
a
no, I don't want
a
anybody getting
preliminary,
upset
right,
about
right,
Yes.
learning about this now.
Right,
right,
Because we're in preliminary.
right.
right.
We're very early on.
Very early on.
So,
Would you care to comment anymore, please,
no,
Attorney,
no.
on where we're at with this?
We're in preliminary.
Okay,
We're still learning about the project.
yes.
We're still sharing information with the developer, with the development team over here in the town.
Right.
And we're, again, just in a discovery phase in terms of all these aspects. So at this time,
Oh, another thing, the staff report.
Please.
Sheila. I forgot. We'll maybe bringing this up to par a little bit, the staff report.
Petitioner is requesting a preliminary 6-lot subdivision approval to allow a 2-building speculative logistics center on 63.25 acres in the CIS Commercial Industrial Zoning District. The proposed project seeks to generate further economic development in the town of Merrillville. Surface water will be collected by storm sewer and directed to 3 interconnected detention basins that discharge to a culvert on 73rd Avenue Road, and other flow goes to the existing wetland to be preserved. All roofs and paved areas are collected into the storm sewer. There are no downspouts or pumps.
Thank you, Sheila.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, where are we right now then, attorney?
We're still in the questioning and answer phase, I think, of this proceeding.
Are there any more questions from the board or from the engineers? Yes, Steve?
I don't think I have anything else to comment as far as the plans. The plat was submitted for review. It was reviewed, comments were sent back, and comments were sent back this afternoon, so the corrections were being made if they're not already done. So the plat itself is moving forward.
Okay, so Robert, do you have the same? You think the same?
Yeah, Steve took my thunder, so.
Okay.
yeah. They,
Well-
Sorry, Bob.
they had a nice quick turnaround, so we appreciate that with the plat, so, we'll keep that moving forward. We're under review right now, and, we did do an initial, review of the civil plans as they were submitted, along with a technical review of the stormwater system, and, comments were sent, and, Arco Murray is actually working on those right now, so.
Please note the comments of everybody tonight here in terms of the concerns of the lineups.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And just because, if you have to move the entrance to line everything up, I mean, quarter mile, yes, it's ideal. Can it still be installed less than a quarter mile? It could. It's not ideal, but it could be done. And it should be done.
So regardless of how we've gotten to this point, it doesn't make any sense to continue with a plating discussion if we're not sure what the lots actually look like based on the comments that were made here tonight. So again, not sure how we got here, but we're here. So first thing we need to solve with you, Steve, is where does this entrance need to live? Because there's only one curb cut on the Hobart side.
Well, we're just here for the plat tonight,
Well, we
right?
can't do a plat because that's based
Can't
on
do
the
a plat
buildings that we're
until you
designing.
lay out
Well,
the
until you
lot.
land a lot, yeah.
I mean, and this is,
It's, we're gonna have to meet and talk about it with the team. I mean, after looking at it, like we said, with Jerry's property, you're coming right out, with the headlights into his bedroom, which
In
day one, that's what we said we didn't want. So, but it happened.
what our
Right?
plan was going to be there in just laying out the buildings was proposing screening, extra topsoil, berming, landscaping, and going that direction to solve for that. But yeah, we can't continue a plating process if we don't know what the lots
Yeah.
and the buildings look like.
Well, I mean, it could be something simple as, not simple, but, that entrance, moving it further south to eventually go around the southern building and coming out further down.
But then that's the other
Well-
Silverstone Parkway connection point is south of Nick's property.
Yeah, it just might be a three-way intersection. Okay, I think what Sean's saying is where, you're never gonna get it to line up properly, the distances and things that, typically you would need. If you move the entrance further to the south, I'm just thinking out loud, further to the south to eventually go around that southern building, you could come out to a signal, a three-way intersection. There'd be no offsets, it would just be a three-way signalized intersection. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. How do we get that figured out? I can be here tomorrow, meeting with you.
Well, we can talk with Brent and his team on it and, look at it and see what we can do to move it around to,
How quickly can
either line it up or move it further away.
How quickly can you meet with the developers on this, I guess is
Right.
what Matt's saying.
Yeah, because, I mean,
Yeah.
To get this all ironed out so we can move on.
right,
Well, we could do a Zoom call tomorrow,
okay.
or we could do a face-to-face.
whichever is
Yeah.
easier.
Joe, we could still do the approval tonight with the
Yes.
encumbrance of
Contingent
line
upon, contingent upon staff review.
Correct.
Right.
So we can still keep the project moving forward, contingent upon your meeting with staff and staff's review and approval.
But will the lot lines be able to change to reflect?
Yeah, you're talking about moving lot lines. You can't do that. Right. I'm sorry, guys. This is gonna fall on me too as a councilman. And again, Matt, you and I go way back, and you've spent a lot, capital letters, a lot of money. And this, I should have caught this. I should have gone to Steve and Bob and caught
okay.
this design. This is my fault.
No, it's
And I'm
okay.
sorry, because there isn't a good place to put this entrance into your subdivision. And I've got a way, as the councilman, $100 million project over the alignment and what's gonna happen on Mississippi Street that's already four-laned, and we've already spent a lot of money that our neighbors are benefiting from. A lot of money on Mississippi Street. And I know we wanna be safe, but I don't know where this entrance is gonna go, Steve,
Well, no.
to be honest with you. You
Well,
can't
I mean-
line it up with Silverstone.
Well, Sean, can we defer here, have a meeting with them tomorrow on what they do on the alignment of the entrance so they can get the lot lines planned out?
I'll tell you guys how. Matt, are you in town tomorrow?
I can be.
Because I'm an old school pen and paper kind of guy. Quite honestly, I'd rather meet at Jerry's house with all of us out in the field and walk this damn thing and get it done fast and get it done right.
That's fine.
Can you guys meet out at Jerry's house tomorrow at lunchtime?
Better than Zoom.
Well, I'm
But I
sure we
hate
can.
Zoom calls. Everybody knows I hate Zoom calls. Can we meet in the field tomorrow?
Yeah.
Fred, can you meet in the field tomorrow?
I have a meeting at 2.
I will find a way.
All right, let's do that.
This is too important.
I'll be here.
It's too important. It is. There's too much money on the table.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
Full staff.
I don't wanna screw this up for someone that takes my place in office and everybody's bitching and moaning that, oh, you guys approved this thing and look what you left a mess for the town. We cannot do that, guys. That's not our job.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll
Well,
be here.
since this is Sean's ward, I have to agree with him and with the attorney too. I think the best thing to do is for all of you to meet tomorrow and try to get this straightened out. And then we could take it from there, possibly at the next meeting, if that's all right with you three.
Yeah, no, I recognize that we need to press pause. You get
Pardon?
that? I recognize that we need to press pause
Yes.
and meet tomorrow.
but, Mr. Svetnoff, we have an advertised public hearing at preliminary subdivision approval that's been advertised, so they don't have to send notices out. I think we need to take comment, put it into the record.
Take
And-
comment, open hearing, close hearing, and then go from
All
there.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're still taking the comment, correct?
Comment.
Okay, any public comments tonight? Any public comment? Please. Identify yourself.
Nick Petrovsky, 7676 Mississippi Street. My biggest concern with this development is just making sure that the stormwater, the sewer systems, everything else is directed the right way without flooding or doing any more water damage into my property, because I've been having issues over there ever since the bike trail got put in. So that's all I'm here to say. I have nothing against them. I want them to have the project. I just want to make sure, because I heard Sheila say stormwater going to the retention pond, but, and also to the wetland area, wetland area. I just want to be able to be part of that and make sure this is working properly so we don't get flooded, because I'm right next door to them. So, and if there's any way we can work things out with the exit being out of mine, we'll talk to them.
Thank you. Well, I think Steve and Robert could check on that tomorrow when you're meeting too. According to the paperwork, the sanitary sewers have been approved along with the storm sewer. So I think they did their work with the water, the common water. Is that correct, gentlemen? Is that correct?
We've been working with staff on that.
Okay. And your sanitary sewers are with who? MCD, good, thank you. Any more public comment?
Yes, sir.
Public comment, please identify yourself.
Jerry Gaza, 7507 Mississippi Street. I've been molding the sign of the road for maybe 20-some years, all right? When Hobart developed that, it was Sticklich, 3 guys developed the property behind the house that I bought now. They put in a stoplight by the bike path. All this stuff is there. It's less than a quarter mile from 79th. Next to Nick's house, he has an approach, I told Matt last time, right at the end of his property, that trucks can come out of instead of by our house, okay? So I just hope you guys can get this worked out, all right? The approach is there already, curb cut and everything, all right? It's sunken down because they probably had problem with the sewer when they put the sewers in, the storm sewers, because it's sunk down. But Nick knows me because he sees me out mowing at his property, and it's right in line with the north of your property, right by that telephone pole and the stoplight, or the street light. I'm all for this also, okay, because they do good work. I mow down there where they have their silos on 101st and Mississippi. I mow all over the town, and they do excellent work, all right? So I hope you guys can figure out in your workshops before you come to this meeting and discuss everything, okay? Because that's what you guys are supposed to do, is talk. Communication is key. Correct, Steve?
Correct,
All right.
Jerry.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
I will make one public comment since the Mississippi Street corridor south of 30 to 93rd Avenue has got several cuts, and there are several. There's a full intersection at 85th that goes into my subdivision. Grand Park Cafe is there. We don't have a stoplight there. We have a stop sign. We wait for traffic all the time when I'm leaving my subdivision. There's a light at the mall at 83rd. There's no light at 85th. Then you go down to PBS, and where First Image Hospital Laundry is, that dead ends. On the west side, that dead ends into Mississippi. 90th Drive dead ends into Mississippi, which has truck traffic coming out of it onto Mississippi that is a 4-lane with no Axle diesel lane. So again, I go back to that, Steve, we had that discussion about, and I asked you when we were building 4A and 4B of Mississippi, and you said because it was 4 lanes, there wasn't necessarily a need for Axle diesel lane. So if these gentlemen have their drive that dead ends into Mississippi, the street that Jerry's on dead ends into Mississippi going the other way, is that necessarily, I mean, they're offset, is that necessarily, it's working south of 30, and there's a lot more traffic between US 30 and 93rd Avenue on Mississippi. Superior Ambulance is there. I see a Domino's truck going by every 10 minutes, literally. My back windows, my bedroom windows look out on the Mississippi. I see the truck traffic, and we can check with Costa. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't heard of, and I'd see it out my windows, I haven't seen many accidents on Mississippi South. So I don't know if we're going to have a conflict when these guys come in north of 30, north of the bike trail, which will be
Sean,
Well-
with Hobart and also us, Hobart's putting in the roundabout, or should be just
We
about
are,
done.
yeah.
Up there at 61st, there's gonna be a roundabout
69th.
at 69th. There's gonna be the roundabout down towards 30
79th.
eventually. Yeah, will that solve the problem of the need or not of a signalized intersection? Hard to tell.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be answered with the traffic study. They're going to go ahead and have a traffic study, and I think Steve and Robert would know best.
Well, and another example, Madam President, again, back to my ward and what Matt and his company has done in Ameriplex at the Crossroads, and Joe and I are neighbors. You look at Georgia Street, 98th Avenue dead ends into Georgia Street.
Right.
And you've got NFI out there, you've got S&S Auto Tire, Auto Parts, you've got Dawn Foods, you've got Domino's. And granted, Georgia is not as wide as Mississippi, it's a 3-lane segment, but there really isn't a lot of conflict in those truck movements going in and out of Ameriplex, Steve. You know, I mean,
No, there's not, but you don't have, in a Merrillplex, you don't have nearly the amount of traffic that you have, traveling on Mississippi. And then you're gonna throw, 1 million square foot of logistics in there. I mean, that's gonna tremendously impact the traffic in the area.
No, we'll have to have a traffic study that will work with,
Yeah.
with them.
Well, yeah,
That's
whatever the
gonna
impact
tell us what is anticipated.
Well, I think from what we've heard tonight, we will just have to wait until they have their study tomorrow. They get together, they come up with what they're supposed to do. A lot of issues that Sean mentioned makes sense. So that's where I'm at right now. What does the attorney have to say?
Well, no, as long as they meet within the near future, if they want to pay for and set up a special meeting, they can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll just wait to the next regular meeting. But right now, they need to have the meeting of the minds to get things aligned, to get things on the same page, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, attorney. I agree with you. I think we should wait for the next meeting, but of course, what do the board members think?
Well,
Jeff
first,
Zweig?
I'm sorry.
Yes, we should have a future meeting, postpone this and
Yeah.
have a future meeting.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. Brian?
Just a point of record, the public hearing is still open. We have to see if there's any other public comment and then formally close the meeting.
Okay.
If we wanted to move forward a little bit faster, we have had in the past a meeting before our first of the month workshop to finalize a certain project. So we could do that. We could have it on the first meeting, close that meeting out, get this job done, and then move on to the next month's business at the workshop.
Well, that would be up to the board.
well,
Ms. Mellon, would
I
you-
agree with Brian. Let's close the public
Yeah.
hearing or see who else has
Okay,
comments.
sorry.
Yep.
Is there any other public speaker? Any more public speaker? Anybody want to speak publicly? Okay,
Close the meeting.
public is closed. Public speaking is.
Madam President, I'll make a motion that we postpone P3 PS1-0525 for 2 weeks to be set for a special plan commission meeting on June 3rd, which is our normal workshop day, but we'll have a dual purpose. Do you have petitions for June 3rd, Sheila?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion on the floor by Mr. Pettit to postpone for 2 weeks until June 3rd, item P3 PS1-0525. And the second was made by Chris Mellon. Everybody in approval?
For discussion, Madam President, Joe, since she closed the public hearing, this will just be at Crow Holdings and Plan Commission level, correct?
This is just going
This
to be a
is-
straight meeting.
All right, so everyone in the audience knows that this is,
Okay, so we can continue and wait until June 3rd for the next meeting, which is 2 weeks. Is that fine with you gentlemen? Okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other business, board members?
No, we have to take the vote, Madam Chairman.
Oh, take the vote. I thought we had to vote.
No.
Okay, let me take the vote on that for the item P3PS1-0525, TPL Silos LLC petitioner and owner to be postponed in 2 weeks as of June 3rd will be the next meeting. Mr. Secretary, please take the roll call vote.
Mr. Zweig?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
yes.
I myself am a yes. Vice President Daring?
Yes?
And Madam Chairman?
Yes.
It's 5 yeses.
Okay, we have 5 yeses, so that's been approved to have the meeting on June 3rd. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, board members. Okay, is there any other business with the board? None?
Motion
You
to
sure?
adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Sean Pettit, a second by Brian
Second,
Derry.
yep.
I would have to change.
Thank you all for attending. See you June 3rd.
Thanks, guys.
Oh,